Tuesday edition of the Sports Cage. Thanks for making some time today. Straighten out the old hats, hat and gum day today. If you got kids, you get that joke. Colson is the only shooter with me right now. He's in the pocket. I'm by myself for the first little bit. We got a good show, and we got some updates, and we got what you guys out there are asking on the injuries to the Saskatchewan Roughriders coming up. Tuesdays is for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Main fundraiser for sport, culture, and recreation in our fine province. Over 12,000 groups they help out. So when you're buying that ticket, you know where it goes. For making time today, thank you very much. Whether it's on the radio, 620 CKRM, or on the apps. We're finding out a lot of people tune in on the apps, especially from down in the United States of America with ties to Saskatchewan. And then, of course, we're streaming through sportscage.com on YouTube, hence the hat and gum day joke, as you can see us now. Colson puts on the question hat. You'll be able to see Colson at some point, too. We got the Riders updates, like I said, coming up. Dave Thomas was at practice, just sent everything. We'll give you those momentarily here. Colson's just pulling them over. We are going to talk in hour one here to Bob Wilkie. That name rings a bell. Bob Wilkie from Calgary, Alberta, played for the Swift Current Broncos in 1986 when the Broncos bus crashed outside of Swift Current, Saskatchewan. He's now helping people deal with mental health. We're going to talk to him about the documentary Sideways that is on that 1986 Swift Current Broncos bus crash. Bob, along with Peter Soberlach, Kelly Rudy, Haley Wickenheiser, Ken Holland, are all featured in the documentary. And we'll find out more on that, where the money's raised, how you can watch it. And they got some events coming up, too, around it. So that's in hour one. We'll probably rerun it in hour three for anyone that misses it. Hour two, it's Trivia Day. Tuesday is Trivia. The T stands for Trivia. Last week, it was Dan who took home $150 to Pump Jack Cathedral. So today we reset it. We're playing for $50. I was in there on Friday before the game, having a couple pints, couple of paralyzers, walked to the game. I know, hard to believe. Nice place. I want to add the bone-in ribs. Highly recommend. But the trivia will be in that first half hour of hour two. How it works, if you haven't played along yet, you got to call in 936-6262. Colson picks someone from the phone lines. You come on, I ask the question, and you have 10 seconds to answer it. The hint, it's hockey-based today. Saskatchewan hockey-based question for trivia today. We'll also have our clutch performer in hour two. If you got any clutch performers, because I know there's a lot of youth ball, fastball, baseball, whatever it is. If we're missing anything, we have some people that send it in. We'll give shout outs to teams. Prairieland Rentals text line is how you engage with us. 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals, 600 Albert Street. Get to deal with the owner. If you need anything, renting a summer job, I need to rent or just buy a chainsaw. I said it yesterday. I broke my neighbor's chainsaw. I feel bad. I think it's about time. I'm of the age that I need my own chainsaw. But Prairieland Rentals is a place. They get the Husqvarna ones, the real souped-up models there. Also in hour two, we will have Arash Madani. He's going to go about 30 minutes later than usual, so you Arash fans, he'll be joining us kind of the bottom of the hour in hour two. Brian Raymond joins Flowing Springs, all that. Hour three, Glen Suitor. Now we have, if you listen to this program or watch this program through YouTube a lot, I would encourage you to be watching it, especially when we talk to Glen Suitor, because you know we talk to Glen, who lives out on the left coast there, somewhere in the Vancouver area. We talk about this bear that wanders into Glen's yard and around his lawn and cars, vehicles, front door We have exclusive video, and this isn't a joke. This isn't a cheesy joke. This is like legit, of the bear on the lawn doing his thing. So Colson did some editing on it. We'll have that in hour 3 when we talk to Glen Suitor. All of our guests join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. If you don't feel like cooking today, grab yourself Western Pizza. Maybe it is a pie, all the generous toppings. The number 2 is by far the favorite of a number of SportsCage staff here. But all the Greek favorites you like too. Souvlaki, ribs, salad. They got it all. Call your local Western Pizza today. Sports tickers, as they come at us, will be for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Extreme Hockey and Sport, where they're now price matching. And Steelcraft Doors Regina. Their new 40,000 square foot warehouse and showroom is open. So that's basically it, the rundown. Yesterday, we had a lot of people. Messaging in. I would like that again today. Because when it's just Colson and I feel we got more time to go after. We got a chance to read messages. Just try and condense it. Try and keep it so we can read it. If they're really long, phone line's there. Colson handles that side of the business. He'll get you on. 936-6262. Toll free. We'll pick up the tab. 1-866-767-0620. I wish we would have, no, actually I don't, but if we would have a camera on the studio 24/7, what you would have saw 10 minutes ago, and a lot of you, if you work in an office setting, work wherever, where there's, I'm going to call them IT guys, and I know one of them for sure is probably listening. They're not IT guys. They're our engineers. They're like the glue. They make everything happen. And when it comes to a radio station or anything, there are a lot of moving parts. It stresses me out sometimes when something goes down and then they start troubleshooting, and it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm like, what do you pull? Out of all those 400 wires, how are you troubleshooting to the one? What happened here a little bit ago is we lost all of our internet in the studio. So it was Ryan, who's known as Mosh, and Curtis, who's on the show once in a while as the producer. They were rigorously, is that a good word?
Rigorously, yeah.
Rigorously, just troubleshooting. Wires under the table, we had to get out of the way. You know what I mean. And it was a lot, and we were getting up to the clock where we have to go on the air. So there was pressure. You know what? One of my favorite movies, well, a documentary I just watched a while ago, on Apollo 13. That was intense. What they did to bring that thing back. Sorry if I'm ruining the story if no one's ever seen the movie from the early 2000s or 90s.
Did you watch the news maybe? Back then?
I watched a documentary on Netflix a lot. It's hard to believe how they pulled that off. And those guys were in space, and they thought they were hooped, and they say, "Wow, we had to stay positive." Astronauts and people that worked in Houston there. Houston, and it's not Houston. Houston, we have a problem. It's, I forget the exact, look it up. The exact quote. It's different, and I was dumb. Oh, I felt so stupid, so irrelevant in life that these guys are figuring out a way to make filters for these guys in outer space out of things that they have and then they're in this, they call it the lifeboat. It's not even the space shuttle, to try and get them around the moon and shoot them back.
Yeah.
I know I'm going off on a tangent. It's amazing. And to watch Mosh and Curtis do their thing here, it wasn't like that, but they are our NASA
Houston astronaut, whatever. Like, wasn't there duct tape involved too?
There was.
Yeah, that's what I had heard.
And you have never seen it?
No.
I would watch this documentary probably before the movie, because I like real, and I like based on a real story, like anything like that. I'm all in. Catch Me If You Can, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
it's you should. You definitely, can you do that in the next week, and then we can reconvene on this story?
What's it on? What service?
Netflix. Or just watch the movie.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, like, slam dunk, Oscar winner.
Tom Hanks is in a lot of based on a real story movies, I'm finding. Because he was in the one about that plane that landed in the Hudson with Sully, that captain.
Oh, Sully Sullenberger.
Yeah.
I drove to Winnipeg with a guy once like that.
Nice.
In a storm.
Nice.
But Castaway isn't based on a true story, but you want to believe it is.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump isn't based on a true, but you want to believe it is. Road to Perdition. That's one I should actually watch up at the lake next week on a rainy day. You're right, though. And then the Tom Hanks library.
Yeah. I mean, he just did Mr. Rogers, too, which that's my demographic.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, the Mr. Rogers movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, I think was the title.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't have time to watch that one in theaters. I think it was busy radio season. But
What is your favorite Tom Hanks movie? 936-6262. Let us know. All right, the Riders back on the practice field today. I think the player that everyone is wondering about, has questions about, is Samuel Emilus. Corey Mace on the injury there. See? It's like NASA. We don't have it. We got problems.
There's a lot going on, so I'm just going to blanket it today with just injury reports coming out in a couple hours, fellas. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
That was it. It was an 8-second clip from Coach Mace on Sam Emilus. Talking to a couple of people that were watching it very intently and closely, and they were like, "Yeah, that's no good." I think they said MCL, one of the CLs. But then the positivity starts rolling in yesterday. Well, he was, I think I saw him on the bike. Saw him walking around with some ice. Tommy Neald, next guy up, receiving core wise. But Sam Emilus, we don't want anything long term there. Kean Schaefer-Baker, he's going to be out for a little bit more. Sam Emilus, so Coach Mace playing things close to the chest vest region. Guess we'll find that out in a bit. On the game coming up this weekend in Montreal, very intriguing matchup, no doubt about it. Just saw the line that came out. And surprisingly, I would ask you, Colson, guess what the betting line is. Who the favorite is?
Well, we talked about it enough times in the show. Home team usually gets like a 3-ish point advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal's still a good team, even with MPT out.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 1 point for the Riders?
Good guess. 2.5.
All right.
Riders. With an over-under of 50. 2.5 Riders in Montreal. The odds makers are respecting the green and white. That's what that means.
And 50 even for the over-under?
50. Right on the nose. I like the over on that. Check out the forecast. What's the forecast for Montreal on Saturday? Grey Cup winner? Okay, here we go. The odds makers. If you look at the futures, which is who's going to win the Grey Cup, Montreal plus 275. Montreal's ahead of the Riders right now. Riders are second, plus 285 to win the Grey Cup. And then the Calgary Stampeders at plus 360. Isn't it weird that 10 days ago, everybody, us included, Calgary stock. Oh, Calgary, book it, flights, the direct Calgary to Winnipeg. Calgary was the team. Mm-hmm. Then they lose. Now it's like, okay, is it back to the right? I feel that the stock purchasing is going towards Hamilton. Because Hamilton's had a couple of good weeks.
Yeah.
More than a couple, but the last two have been really good.
Hamilton's kind of a one-trick pony, though, right? Where it's just kind of. It's a really good trick. Just throwing it up to Lawler, but
Okay, but when we talked to Glen Suitor in hour 3, that is a good point. Because I know a lot of people had better things maybe to do on Sunday, or you're traveling, or you're out golfing. It was a beautiful night. I watched the game. And Hamilton receiving, Keandre Smith, 14 receptions, 138. Tim White, 6 receptions, 86 yards. Brandon O'Leary from the O'Learys, 3 for 63. Kenny Lawler, 2, 29 yards. So they took him away. And Glenn was doing, I think it was Glenn that was doing the game. Good job of showcasing that they were double teaming him. They kind of like doing a high-low thing on him. So, and Bo is playing, and some people say he's playing the best ball of his career. I don't know about that. But he's playing really good. And then he just went to, okay, go ahead. Double team him. I'm going to throw to Smith. I'm going to throw to White. I'm going to throw to O'Leary.
Yeah. I didn't realize White was still in the league. He's 31. Still balling.
Anybody over the age of 35. I know you want to slap him for that comment right now.
Sorry. By the way, weather in Montreal looking like a 26 and sunny right now.
Oh, I know people that are going to the game from here. They're like summer holiday.
I know a few people too. Well, not holiday. They're working it, but Dave Thomas.
Dave and Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke. I'm guaranteed going to crush a smoked meat sandwich in Montreal. It's kind of what they're known for, among other things. Here's Coach Mace today at practice on what makes Montreal hard to play against.
Yeah, they're well coached. They're a band of brothers, man. You could tell just by watching how they play. They feed off each other's energy. They play complementary football. They got a defense that they fly around. They're a tough opponent. Every time they step out there, even with Mac out there, they're moving the ball efficiently, and then they got a lot of really good special teams players. They're a good team, man. So again, they've won a lot of games together. It's going to be a tough task for us, but we feel we're a good team, and we're hoping it's going to be a tough game.
Oh yeah, it'll be a tough game. Text line here. See, people aren't sure that they agree with the Riders being the favorite in Montreal. There's an Amy saying that, a Colin, basically. Odds makers are usually really dialed. They're really smart. They have our Riders 2.5-point favorites in Montreal. I know McLeod Bethel Thompson is slinging the ball for Montreal. I don't think the shade is warranted on him. Did a great job in Calgary. Calgary probably not the home field advantage as it used to be, and I truly believe never will be again. But Montreal's a kind of a pain to play there. There's loud, the crazy horns. I always screw up the name. Vuvuzela? No. Venezuela? Vuvuzela. Same thing. Samsonite. Corey Mace on who has the advantage, McLeod Bethel Thompson versus Corey Mace's D, or Corey Mace's D versus McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Maybe it's a wash, you know what I mean? Certainly spending time with him, knowing things that he likes to do, things he could see, and but he's in a different system, and you don't know how the coaching differs. What Jason's telling him as opposed to RD or Mike Miller or something like that. So we just got to go out there and let's obviously see what we see on film, and then be able to adjust in game if things change. So that's the name of the game. So we'll see.
We're gonna have more here, but the text line on Tom Hanks movies, here we go. Love it. Love the Sports Cage listeners, just buying totally in. Darren in Saskatoon, if you like Nassau movies about real events, Hidden Figures, 2016 is really good. I gotta look that up. Is that the name of it? Hidden Figure. Any kind of based on true events.
Yeah. I haven't seen this one, but I've heard good things about it and seen lots of like little clips online and stuff.
Okay.
It's about because back in the era of the space race and everything, there was a lot of segregation still in the States.
Oh.
So this is about a lot of the black women who were working for NASA and their crucial roles to getting those rockets up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Kirsten Dunst. She hasn't been in a lot of movies in a long time.
Yeah. Glenn Powell.
Don't know him.
He
He looks familiar though.
Yeah. Jim Parsons is in it too.
Okay, and then what do we all got? Gary from Winnipeg here, I think, on movies. My favorite Tom Hanks movie is a 2004 movie, The Terminal.
Oh,
I have to watch that one. The problem,
I've seen that one.
I made the mistake of really reading up on it, and they talk about how the movie is like really loosely based on Terminal Guy. But so then I went down the rabbit hole and started reading about the guy that
Terminal
actually
Guy?
lived in the is it Thomas de Gaulle or what, the Paris airport. I was in there once. People were so rude, actually. That's what I remember about it. It really or was it the yeah, I gotta watch that one.
Yeah. It's
The Terminal.
I'm trying to find who it's based on. I'm not pronouncing.
No, don't pronounce it.
Eastern European name.
Yeah, very. What is it at the Paris airport though?
New York, John F. Kennedy.
Oh, okay, I was way off. Don't know.
No, sorry. Sorry. The Paris airport. Yes, the movie's based in John F. Kennedy, but his
story
is in
a refugee.
Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport.
Charles de Gaulle.
From 1989 to 2006, he lived in the airport.
Yeah, I can't go down the rabbit hole if you start reading about it. It's hard to fathom that this really happened.
Yay.
Yeah, and he had a setup. He had made himself at home.
And apparently,
Literally.
In that movie, most of the external shots of the airport are actually using Montreal's Mirabel International Airport. So a bit of Canada in it.
I thought the airport in Montreal was Trudeau.
Yeah, this is the external one that's way out of the city.
Oh.
The one they built for the Olympics that was supposed to be a part of the big whole revamping Quebec thing that didn't pan out.
Really?
I watched a YouTube video on it a month ago.
Speaking of Trudeau, Justin Trudeau having supper with Katy Perry.
What?
Yeah, all over social media. In Montreal.
Oh, boy.
Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau. I liked Katy Perry. Saw her play at the Super Bowl. I'll leave it at that. Anyway.
That's all the politics talk for today, everybody.
Keep them coming. The other thing that I'm going to want people to comment on later is baseball related. So I'm very confused on a couple of things when it comes to baseball. It is a Sports Cage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. We're on the home of the Riders and sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. All right, welcome back. It's for Saskatchewan Lotteries on Tuesday. Real informational program today. Question on the text line from Dale and Leanna, Humboldt, Saskatchewan. Big golf tournament. I think it's next week. Brian Munns maybe will come on. The Humboldt Broncos golf tournament out in Humboldt. I'd love to go do the show there on an awful day to try and twirl up to Humboldt and back. But the question was, what does load management mean on the Rough Rider injury report? If you're watching the stream, are you going to throw it up?
Yep.
Colson has it up on the stream right now. So there's the injury report as of today.
Yeah.
Did not participate. Mario Alford. Malik Carney. We know that. Del Duncan Busby. Sam Emilisak Fry. Daniel Johnson. Lake Corte Moore. Aubrey Miller Jr. All did not go.
And CJ Rivas.
Yeah. So Aaron Patrick on the defensive line and Mitch Picton, it says load management full.
So they had full participation then, but
you're waiting for confirmation from Dave on exact load management. How I know it, load management NBA and different sports is you rest.
Yeah, Dave said it's basically a vet day, so a day off, but they said full participation, so that's where I'm a little confused on it. But yeah, the thing that I liked on there seeing is Sean Bain Jr. full participation.
Yep.
So that's good news.
Need him. Tommy Neal, let's go Tommy. And then going back, it is, I've always known it, the Apollo 13 or whatever. I didn't even know where it was from, to be honest with you. And I'm sure a lot of you didn't know either. Houston, we have a problem. Yeah, when you're screwing around or something's going on or you want to piss somebody off.
When the internet cuts out in your studio.
Houston, we have a problem. But the actual quote was, Houston, we've had a problem. Last week, watching the Netflix documentary, I was like, so then of course I'm searching. I'm like, did somebody else say we have? No, it was it.
Tom Hanks said it in the movie, so that's why.
Kevin Foam Lake, probably crushing on a 016 up there right now. Not likely based on a true story, but my favorite Tom Hanks movie is The Green Mile. Couldn't even guess how many times I've watched it. I've only watched it once. I do not remember it at all, but that was a very popular movie. I think it won a lot of awards. The Green Mile. Tom Hanks has been in a lot of movies. I might get chirped for this. That's okay. Big. Tom Hanks in Big. Have you ever seen Big? No, you're way too young. It was from the 80s. It's when they're out on Coney Island or and they go to Zoltar machine, and he wishes he could be big, and he wakes up the next morning and he's an adult. And his mom freaks out, and it's actually really funny. Tugs at the heartstrings. You feel really sad at times. Really laugh. Great to watch with the kids. Excellent. So I go Big is right up there for me because I'm a simpleton. And then The Burbs. My kids watched The Burbs with me. My wife hated it. The Klopex. I can watch The Burbs over and over and over and over. Anyone out there agreeing with me? The Corey Feldman's in it. The Klopex, The Neighbors. Oh, it brings the sardines out. God, that's funny. The Burbs.
The Green Mile won People's Choice Awards favorite dramatic movie and favorite all-around movie that year. As far as awards. And a few others, but I don't recognize them.
The Toronto Blue Jays are playing a doubleheader in Baltimore today. Forfeited. 16-4. It's because it was too hot. Do some digging on that. Tomorrow. So, if anyone hasn't heard, at 2 p.m. in Baltimore, Maryland today, or Baltimore as the locals call it, it was 38 degrees. With the humidex, it felt like 46. How do you play baseball in that? Did you find anything out? I wasn't watching closely to the game. But the Jays lost yesterday 11-4. They lost to the Tigers the day before 10-4 after being the hottest team on the planet. Now they dropped another one.
And this is their first time losing 3 straight since June 13th to 15th when they were swept by the Phillies this year.
We're supposed to go at it again tonight. It is sweltering hot in Baltimore. Okay, so here's the question I have. Hopefully, Prairieland Rentals, someone can help me out, 936-6262. Now, when a batter gets hit in the head, or hit in general, like Springer was hit yesterday, it was scary. What's the pitcher didn't go up and like give him a tap and say sorry, like if hockey, football, he accidentally hit, it's like, sorry about that. He didn't go up to him and say sorry. What's the gentleman's agreement there? Does he make a gesture of some sort that one got away, he didn't mean to do it? Or what's the I did that on purpose gesture? Because it was late in the game too. The game was all but done. And I was like, okay, so when is there retribution for it? I don't know. I played fastball up until like special men's in Saskatoon. Loved it. And you never wanted to stare at your home run and kind of show up the pitcher because you'll get plunked. So I was very curious on, did the pitcher kind of right away do something that I'm not aware of? I'm seriously asking what I don't know, that he was like, that one's on me. I didn't mean that. But Springer, it was scary. It was a scary moment. It was right at his head. So yeah, if anyone knows, can help me out. 936-6262. It is hot. How do you do anything in that weather, let alone play baseball? It feels like 44, 46, in and around there. That's a lot. And the Jays are on a bit of a slide as well. Riders aren't. That's for sure. Back to Coach Mace today on the record. We're 6-1. We're feeling good. Coach Mace being 6-1, does the mentality of it ain't broke, don't fix it, creep in?
No, you always try to fix. There's always things that are broken, man. So, you just look at ways to get better, no matter what the results. It keeps everybody focused on the process. So, we enjoy that. I think the team thrives off of that. They want to get rundown done the next morning. They want the answers and the corrections ASAP. So, it's excellent. It's excellent.
If it ain't, there's always things to work on. They're not perfect by any means. We heard yesterday in the post game, got to finish games, got to finish them. But the other team on the other, as they say, as Luke says, they get paid too on the other side of the ball. One more here on Coach Mace. Does the 6-1 record change your psychology?
Regardless of record, you shouldn't be able to tell coming into our locker room. It should look the same, honestly, every time, because we're just trying to get better, period. I don't know if there's much psychology in it. Haven't really changed the approach of how we coach, and the guys haven't changed their preparation other than, identifying the things that we got to get better at, and that's just, we try to work at those.
We'll have more on the Riders in a bit. We got a full Mike Rose interview coming up. Also, we're going to hear from Trevor Harris. When we come back, we're going to talk to Bob Wilkie, member of the 1986 Swift Current Broncos, and about the limited edition documentary Sideways that is being released. It is a SportsCage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. SportsCage on this Tuesday for Saskatchewan Lotteries. Don't forget Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation 50-50. We got a game this week, 50-50. Riders5050.ca. The early bird prize up until Thursday at 5 p.m. this week. A little local getaway. Elk Ridge Golf Getaway package for 4 includes one-night accommodations, 2 rooms, 18 holes with cart, or you can take $2,250 in cash. Riders5050.ca. Saskatchewan Rough Rider Foundation. We talked to Tyler Lloyd last week, where all the money goes. A great cause. Western Pizza guest hotline right now. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. We teed it up earlier. It's the powerful documentary Sideways on the 1986 Swift Current Broncos bus crash. Joining us right now, Bob Wilkie on the documentary. And Bob, you were on the bus. You were part of that team. Thanks for taking some time today to join us and talk about Sideways. What can you tell us? How did this all come about?
It's been an interesting journey for sure. I never thought my life would, be a good story to tell for so long and going through so much. And found my way out, and there was a book that was written, and it put me in touch with this gentleman, Shane Putzlicher, and Trilight Pictures, and he's been trying to make our story, the book that we wrote into a story, and this documentary was a kind of a real interesting way to go about creating awareness of the story and what we went through. And so this sideways journey is as young men, we had an event that took our life sideways. And the story is, how it affected us all, how it affected the community, every different member of that traumatic event, from coaches to teammates to spouses. Everybody gets affected by it. And so we think it's a great piece to really create the awareness that, I think everybody goes through something in their life, whether it's loss of a family member or a job or a career or, whatever it is, it can take your life sideways. So this is just a way for us to show people when it goes sideways, you can get it back on track.
Because when it happens, Bob, and you go back, and I'm only 9 years old, but I remember it, and I remember the stories when it happens. And you guys didn't really get any counseling. You didn't get any help. A lot of that, I watched the trailer, right? It was, Graham James was kind of behind that, but you guys had to deal with all this on your own, and it was like, all right back at it. Let's go play hockey.
And it's it was a very challenging time. Young people in general don't really have the skills or want to talk about what they're experiencing. Could you imagine having that in your brain pan? So all while trying to get drafted into the NHL. So the path we chose, we knew was stressful. We had lived in it prior to that. It's such a great story of what we can endure. Makes us aware of the choices that we make, and most importantly, sometimes life can just be shitty and hard, and you got to pick yourself up and figure a way forward, and that's what we did.
Proceeds are going to I Got Mine for the Boys Fund. What can you tell us about that?
When this came about, there's a bunch of things. We've been working at this for 20 years, supporting communities and doing things. And so we've created an online community that people can come to when they attend the viewing of the show with us. The For the Boys Scholarship was something that I've wanted to do for such a long time for my teammates. The four that we lost, Trent Cressy, Scott Kruger, Brent Ruff, and Chris Mantika, we've created a For the Boys Scholarship, and each boy has their own scholarship. Cress was a great athlete, so there's an athletic scholarship. And Scotty Kruger and his family were bricklayers, so there's a trade scholarship. And Brent Ruff was from the prairies in Alberta, so there's an agriculture scholarship. And then Chris Mantika, there's an Indigenous scholarship. So, it's been a long time, and Bill Lee did such a great job of getting the monument out there. I get pictures from people all the time stopping by the monument on the side of the highway there. This is just another way for us to keep their memories alive, because they gave us all so much in the little time that they were here.
Bob Wilkie's joining us right now on the documentary Sideways. Big weekend coming up in Swift Current. I think it's October 11th, 12th, and 13th as well. What can you tell us about the weekend?
When we finished the thing, we had to show it to everybody that was involved. And, the Broncos organization, because they've been through so much, we really wanted to show them that this was a good piece about, what we experienced in Swift Current, and that we should be proud of that, not shameful because of Graham James. But we showed it on the big screen in the arena there. And the visual right away came, everybody in Swift Current, we want to invite them out to let them know that this is a big part of the history of this town. What we went through, what we accomplished together, because it was all of the members of the community that supported us and helped us and, knocked us around a little bit when we needed our heads on straight, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without them. So what better place to show it is to the community that helped it happen.
I had a chance to live in Swift Current in the late 90s, early 2000s for a couple of years. I've always thought that it should be a motion picture. The Swift Current Broncos, this small town, the bus crash, what happens with Graham James, the Memorial Cup win. all that. It is such an amazing story, Bob. And the one thing I felt when I was just starting in the broadcast world in Swift Current, great city, great people didn't like talking about it, right? Like it seemed like everybody was dealing with it in the community.
Well, it's a lot of shame. It happened on a lot of people's watch, and it really gave a black mark to the organization. And, anytime those things come out, I was talking with Brian Costello, who's in the documentary and was in Swift Current with us today. This happens to everybody. You look at the U.S. gymnast doctor, they learn how to get what they need, and they put on a face where nobody's ever going to suspect. And so to feel shameful or guilty about that, I think it's part of the process, but it doesn't need to erase all the good that happened. And that's what we're really trying to help the people in Swift. We need to celebrate what we accomplished because like you say, it's just miraculous that we were able to win the Memorial Cup 2 years after that, all while that was going on. I think it's a story of human resilience and what we're capable of.
I got to tell you, Bob, I was a massive Saskatoon Blades fan. I cried on my couch when Tim Tisdale scored that goal on Mike Greenlay. Amazing story. What are you hoping? The legacy continues, obviously, with this. What are you really hoping to get out of this and where this goes for the documentary Sideways?
What I get out of it, and people. It's such a can I say shitty? It's such a difficult world because when you try and do something for good, people are always going to bash you. But this, we really want to meeting with these communities and doing it for as long as we have. We did a tour after Humboldt. When you get a room full of people and we talk about what we struggle with and the pain that we have, there's no better experience for everybody that's included in that. And this documentary is just a way for us to open doors for people to have conversations, to realize, it's a bad deal that you got, but this is how you got to keep moving forward. And what you can really learn and grow from that. That's what I want out of it, is that we can go and heal communities, because we're a broken country and there's a lot of broken communities that need help.
A lot of listeners right now are saying, we'll wrap on this. How do I watch the documentary? Is it a DVD? Do I go online? What should they do?
So right now, what we're doing to try and raise money for the scholarship fund is they can pre-order a DVD. A portion of that goes to the scholarship fund for the boys. It also enters them into a contest to win a trip to come and watch the premiere September 8th in Toronto at the Hockey Hall of Fame. So that's what we're planning on doing, is having a little party there during the Toronto Film Festival to really kick this thing off and let people know that this is a great story that resonates with so many different people.
Sidewaysdocumentary.ca. That's the best way to go about it.
That's the best way.
Bob, thanks so much for this. We're up against the clock here, but I love it. I'm going to be pushing it. Great job by you. The mental health side of the thing. And like I said, it wasn't just the people that were on that bus that were affected, which I can't even imagine. The people in the community, a lot of people, and people are dealing with things. So thanks for taking some time today, Bob, and congratulations on this, and I hope you get everything you need out of it.
Yeah, you ever want to talk about anything, just give me a shout. I'd love to be on your show again. Right on.
Former Swift Current Bronco, Bob Wilkie joining us. And the website is sidewaysdocumentary.ca. Any questions on that, text us in. We'll make sure you get it. Pre-order the DVD, obviously going to a good cause. Wow, what a story. The whole organization. It is a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com, and we are on 620 CKRM. The Riders back on the practice field today. Coach Mace, somewhat tight-lipped on the injuries, not participating. Sam Emilus, Blake Corte Moore, Aubrey Miller Jr., among others. The Riders are in Montreal Saturday. We'll have more on that coming up. Toronto Argonauts have signed Canadian fullback Felix Gerard-Gauthier and Canadian linebacker Jordan Herdman-Reed. Herdman-Reed, of course, attended training camp with the Riders earlier this year, but was released as part of the final cuts. Western Canadian Baseball League, Red Sox in Moose Jaw tonight. Those two are jostling for the 3-4 position. Wayburn's in Saskatoon, Medicine Hat's in Swift Current. And in the majors, the Toronto Blue Jays They lost to the Baltimore Orioles 16-4. They're doing again here in moments in sweltering Baltimore. It's a doubleheader for the Jays today. And if you go to sportscage.com, you can voice your opinion. What's the biggest priority for the Toronto Blue Jays ahead of Thursday's trade deadline? You can vote at sportscage.com. Hour 2 is coming up. That was your sports ticker for Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals, keeping you in hot and soft water. Call on Reliance. It's a Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Tuesday, Sports Cage. Colson is with me for Saskatchewan Lotteries. We're into hour 2 here. Thanks for making some time. What an interview, Colson, eh? So you're young. Probably don't know a lot about the 1986 bus crash, Swift Current Broncos. And then how they won the Memorial Cup 2 years later. It is, I think a lot of times people forget the scope and the magnitude of what happened there. Small town, how they bounced back, then the Graham James scandal and everything that went on there. Bob Wilkie joined us just moments ago in hour 1 at the end, talking about the documentary Sideways. If you want the DVD, pre-buy the DVD. Money going to the scholarship fund. You can go and look it up. Sidewaysdocumentary.ca. The trailer. Can we post the trailer on socials for people? And then maybe with the link to the website. I know you're a busy guy after work, but maybe we should do that on our socials. You get a sense to watching the. I got shivers. I know it might be it's cheesy, but I was 9 years old. I remember watching the news on the TV where you'd turn it only had 12 and then a U, I think. You turned it to Channel 8 or whatever CFQC was.
Super Channel, is that what it was?
We weren't a Super Channel family. You needed the kit too to get, because Super Channel was on higher numbers. Ken had that, whose sister stole my wrestlers. But yeah, no, I remember it. It was like the Swift Current Broncos bus crashed. And then 2 years later, they're playing at Sask Place, winning the Memorial Cup for my Saskatoon Blades. And I cried. Because I'm about 11 years old at that point. Tim Tisdale on Mike Greenlay. It was the South End, Sask Place. Yeah. So sidewaysdocumentary.ca.
I believe that's right. They also have a Facebook page, which I'm going to try and share across our socials here.
A lot of people are getting off Facebook. I've noticed too. Not to get into a whole other thing here, because the other thing, the text line, people are really digging this Tom Hanks that we ended up. It's what we do on the cage. It wasn't planned. We just started talking about Tom Hanks movies. And it all stemmed from Curtis and Ryan, who were fixing our internet right before we went on the air in the studio. And they were like in a mass panic. And I was like, it's like a poor man's version of Houston when they were trying to bring Apollo 13 back, which that movie, that story. I had to watch the documentary last week. It's unbelievable how they pulled it off.
Yeah. I remember now what I was going to say, because last time you were saying this last hour, it was, again, crazy what they pulled off. But you were saying, yeah, they're pulling wires. How do you know which one's the right one? I was like, right. Do you remember the show Nerve Center on the Discovery Channel? Mm-mm. So they would go to big events or whatever, it's right. And what are the logistics behind this and how do they pull it off? And they did a Grey Cup one for the Grey Cup 100. Yeah. And again, I'm producing and I have a background in audiovisual stuff. And that's all that it's highlighting is the video work, the audio work for all that stuff and all the work that it goes into. And that's the Grey Cup, which again, it's a big deal. But now imagine scaling that up for the Super Bowl, for the World Cup. Like all that goes on logistically on that side of things. So
I've always thought and looked at Country Thunder and the one wire goes out and the screen goes off and everyone's like, oh, it's like now you got to troubleshoot. Okay, where did that go? Where did that unconnect? And all that. But on a bigger scale, like a football stadium concert, yeesh, where you're running stuff, running wires for miles and kilometers. The funny thing on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, Prairie Land Rentals, 936-6262. They're located at 600 Albert Street. If you need a gardening tool, you need a fence, skid steer, they can hook you up on the rental side. They're local. They've been doing it for over 30 years. With all the Tom Hanks movies that people are texting in, I don't think one has doubled up. Like, he's got his catalog of movies is insane. It starts in 1980 with He Knows You're Alone. Never heard of it. It looks like a cheesy American psychological slasher film. Okay, that makes sense. I never saw it. In 1984, I did see Splash.
Don't know it.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
All right.
Splash, remember watching it. Bachelor Party, watched that, don't remember it. And then The Money Pit, 1986. So the one you got to watch, Colson, I told you, 1989, The Burbs, and 1988, Big.
All right.
Turner and Hooch, stay away from. I'm sure some people love it. A League of Their Own. That's kind of based on a true story. That's a good movie. Philadelphia, Forrest Gump. Apollo 13 was 1995.
Yeah. Same year as Toy Story, which is more up my alley.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
I think we got a text on that. Yeah. We were gonna watch Castaway with the kids last week. We never got around to it. My daughter and I watched something instead, not a Tom Hanks one.
He was a producer for My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Tom Hanks talk, 936-6262. Let's get back to the Rider talk here, and our starting quarterback, Trevor Harris, who's on a roll. He's slinging it around. Trevor talks about what they need to do against those Alouettes in Montreal.
Just execute. Just make sure we're ascending. You want to make sure that during the bye week, when I go back and watch the film and I watch week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're a better team than we were then, and we're a better team than we were last week. And just make sure that we're continuing to improve and not make the same mistake twice, because that's the mark of great teams and great players. Or if you make a mistake, you don't make it twice.
Montreal in Calgary, and I know, pat myself on the back, Barry Horowitz style, but I took them to beat the Stamps. Maybe more just because I was not believing in the Stamps. But McLeod Bethel Thompson is serviceable. What was he? 280 yards? Not bad. 1 pick, 1 TD. Got it done. Thomas Erling on the ground, 41 yards. They're sneaky. And at home, we know it. We've seen it. We saw it last year, Rider fans. Whether it's the horns, the crowd noise, whatever, it's just a place where the green and white haven't played that well over the years. Been to a game there, great stadium for a football game. It's old, it's aging. Would take that over an empty, brand new barn any day of the week. But in hour 1, if you missed it, the Riders are 2.5-point favorites in Montreal. I would think that's a little bit of the disrespect for McLeod Bethel Thompson, who I am not sleeping on. We heard Coach Mace in hour 1 saying he ain't sleeping on McLeod Bethel Thompson. You never know what you're going to get from a guy with 3 names. Trevor Harris on why the Montreal defense is so darn good.
Well, their coordinator's been elite for a long time. He's been in the league since before I've gotten here, and he's been elite every year. And I've played on an offense where I've had Noel Thorpe, and a lot of times, you just got to take care of the football and not screw it up, and they put you in great positions. And so, it starts with him, and, then obviously goes to their personnel. They're fast and physical, and they give you a lot of different looks. They have elite, safety play, linebacker play with, DeQuoy is awesome. Wes Sutton's a great football player. Obviously Bev, a great football player. They've got some D linemen that wreak havoc and cause you to have some issues. And so, but it's our job to give them issues as well. And so it's not like we're going in there as we can't do it. We're just going to go in and execute, do what we can, and just play 60 minutes of football and see where we come up.
If you've watched the games when any team has played at Percival Molson Stadium in Montreal, and you noticed it's kind of like there's the hill in behind it and the buildings and the architecture. Looks nice. But the other thing is it's got a track around it. It's one of those stadiums with a track around it. So the end zones are rounded. They're not squared off. So the end zones are different, which I'm fine with. I like that. A little bit. I like it more than Toronto, who's got turf and then halfway through or a quarter of the way through they got grass, or it's vice versa. Because it's made for soccer, so it's grass. And then it turns into artificial turf in Toronto. But Montreal, they have the unique end zones. And there's a picture of it if you're watching the stream right there. It's a little bit different. Not a lot. Not a lot to affect a veteran quarterback like Trevor Harris, for sure. I see it kind of jets out there on the one side. If you're watching the stream on the left, it's like a weird, jet out halfway through. But regardless, Trevor Harris was asked, do you have to strategize for the short end zones at Montreal?
Of course. Yeah, and when I was there in 22, actually, we threw a pass to Gino, and he was out of bounds by just a mere couple inches. And actually, we started practicing at Percival Molson on day 3 during Red Zone Day because of that. Because, at the practice field at the Big O, we were, full end zones, and, you drag the feet and you got that extra space, and it ended up costing us one time. And so, obviously, you just got to make sure that on day 3, you understand that the cutoff end zones are going to be there.
That's a very interesting question. Very interesting way to look about it.
So he literally has experience in it too, practicing it too. So
I'd like to know the exact dimensions now. I don't have to go down this rabbit hole while you're busy looking up Tom Hanks movies. I'm gonna have to check that part out. I forgot to go to the YouTube messages here. Crofty on YouTube talking about the dinner date between Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry. We're not going to talk about that. Wayne says, I believe Glenn Powell was in Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise. And he was in the movie that you were talking about.
Yeah, the new Top Gun Maverick.
What's least favorite Tom Hanks film? We got a text on the text line. That Thing You Do. Don't know if I've ever seen that one. You look up on Wikipedia, which I think Colson just found out, how many movies he has been in. It's staggering.
So many.
And he hasn't been in all of those, right?
Some of them were producer only instead of acting in it, stuff like that. That Thing You Do is from 1996. He starred Mr. White.
Sully. If you have never seen Sully, I'm going to say you can forego the Burbs for one night and watch Sully tonight. Based on the landing on the Hudson, Sully Sullenberger. Oh, yeah. I might watch it. I don't know. So many movies to watch. There's nothing going on tonight once the Blue Jay game's over. Riders Montreal coming up Saturday in Montreal. The last thing from Trevor Harris here. How do you make sure that being pissed off doesn't grow within the group?
Well, being pissed off, I guess, is better than the alternative of, being sad or whatever. It's more or less just getting motivated and starting to, hey, let's go get after these guys, getting in a better mindset of being, a little perturbed or irritated, and to go out there and make plays and get yourself in the right mindset. And so sometimes that can kind of slip away if you don't move the chains well, and you start to kind of slip down a little bit and feel a little bit like, oh man, it's not going well. It's like, let's freaking go. It's just more of a mindset thing to make sure we're staying aggressive, staying foot on the pedal, because if you're up 21-4 in the fourth quarter, you shouldn't let a team get to 21-18. And it's your job as an offense to stay on the field and put more points on the board and extend the lead so that the game doesn't come down to needing a game-winning sack or needing a great punt. We want to end the game on the field with a 2-possession, 3-possession lead. Is kind of the mindset in that area, right?
We'll hear more on the Riders in a bit. We're also going to have a full interview with Mike Rose and Dave Thomas coming up. All right. Dialing fingers, get them ready. It is almost time for Pump Jacks Cathedral Tuesday Trivia. We're playing for $50 at Pump Jacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. When we come back, get ready to go. 936-6262, 1-866-767-0620. It is a SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com. It's pretty simple on the Nick Service Clutch Performer front today. I'm going to the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Orioles, and then anybody working at Camden Yards in this heat. At 2 o'clock today in Baltimore, it was 38 feeling like 46. Ugh. And they're playing a doubleheader. Jays lost, and then they're going to play again tonight. That is nuts. Do you have one?
Not a clutch performer, but something interesting about Blue Jays and Orioles to continue on that train. Do you know the name Sir Anthony Dominguez?
No, I don't.
Played for the Orioles, now plays for the Blue Jays. Was traded in between that doubleheader. So started with the Orioles and then walked down the hallway to the Blue Jays bullpen from the Orioles bullpen because he got traded. Like, I've seen clips of people getting traded like in warm-ups in the NHL or mid-game in the MLB. I've seen that, but that's a pretty funny one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that recently. Was it baseball? I don't know. Clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Pump Jacks Cathedral Trivia. Do you want to win $50 to Pump Jacks Cathedral? You got to call right now. 936-6262.
We've got an intro now.
Got an intro.
It's time for SportsCage Trivia for Pump Jacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
All right. We had internet problems earlier, and now we're having phone problems. Colson's going to figure it out. 936-6262. The other thing, too, Regina Red Sox. You get that ready, Colson, while we wait. Manager Rye Pothakos, because he talks about... We got phones? Okay. We're going to hear from the Red Sox. They only have, and it kind of caught up to us here, they got 4 home games left on the regular season. Tonight, they're in Moose Jaw. Tomorrow, they're home to Moose Jaw. We're going to hear from General Manager Rye Pothakos on the Red Sox right now. The Regina Red Sox are in Moose Jaw tonight for Western Canadian Baseball League action. These two teams jostling in the playoffs like we talked about yesterday and earlier today on the show. Manager of the Red Sox, Rye Pothakos, is joining us right now on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Rye, going into a game, a Tuesday night in Moose Jaw where points mean a lot. It's got to be exciting for you and for your guys.
Yeah, we're coming off a nice weekend where we swung the bats well and we pitched well, so we're ramped up and ready and excited for the last 7 games of the season here heading into the playoffs.
What a stretch you guys had on the weekend. I think it started Friday with a double dip, then Saturday, then Sunday. That is a lot of baseball in a 3-game or a 3-day span. It's a lot like some of these kids playing minor ball and provincials and stuff like that. Have you ever been through something like that with that much wear and tear over a 3-day period in the last little bit here with the Red Sox?
I've been in the league for over 20 years. It's the first time this has ever happened, 3 days back-to-back doubleheaders. And so it was a lot of baseball. The guys got through it well with an off day yesterday. Had some good rest, so we're ready to go.
How do you manage that when you have that much baseball in 3 days?
Well, we have a deep roster. We have guys that are versatile, move them around a little bit. Brady does a lot of catching, but he's at first base in the last game, so there's a lot of versatility there. We move them around, so kind of a little bit less wear and tear on everybody. Do
you run out of arms? Do you have guys that maybe aren't used to pitching on standby just in case?
Well, we were fortunate. We had some, real big performances. Landon Riley, a new addition to our team, pitched a complete game, so we didn't have to go to the bullpen. And then Christopher Spry also did a nice job. Our pitchers did a real nice job this weekend.
East Division of the league, it's tight. Saskatoon, good team. Medicine Hat, when we talked earlier this year, you knew Medicine Hat was going to be good too. Is the East going to be a dogfight here right through the playoffs?
Yeah. I think it's always that way when you get close to the last 7 to 10 games. So a few positions jockeying around here yet. So we're prepared and ready to go the last 7. And, just like the old cliche, take it one at a time and get ready for tonight and then get ready for tomorrow after tonight's game. So everybody's excited and ready to go. How's
the health of the team right now?
Everybody's good. Kenny Jack's a little nicked up. He's got a little hamstring issue, but he should be good now with the day's rest. We gave him 3 days off prior.
Right on. Exciting times, exciting stretch ride here for the baseball team and for the league. Thanks so much for taking some time today, Rye.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having us on, and I look forward to seeing everybody out at Curry Field here in the next few days.
Yeah, we are going to have tickets to give away on Curry Field coming up in the show, so stay tuned to that. All right, now we got things fixed. Let's get into trivia, Colson. No, we're not yet. For Pump Jacks. See, the internet goes down today, and then things just break around here. Trivia on Tuesdays is for Pump Jack Cathedral. If you haven't been there yet, they're new. Kids can go till 8 o'clock. They got live music on the weekends. Before a Rider game, after a Rider game, perfect as well. Located at the corner of Albert and 13th Street. Last week, we had Dan win $150. So he reset it. We're going at $50. $50 for Pump Jacks Cathedral. Colson's just getting things figured out on his side of the ball box. We're ready to go now? All right, let's go.
It's time for SportsCage Trivia for Pump Jacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
All right, out on the phone line, and we got a Keith standing by. Yep. Keith, you ready to play?
I am, guys.
All right. You ready? Colson with the ticker. This Saskatchewan-born hockey player has won the Stanley Cup 4 times and also has an Olympic gold medal. Keith, you got 10 seconds.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Ryan Getzlaf.
Sorry, Keith. So close. You're in the right city. It's Chris Kunitz. So both inducted into the Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame on the weekend. Thanks for playing, Keith. That means next week, Colson, we will have $100 on the line next Tuesday for Pump Jacks Cathedral trivia. The Chris Kunitz thing is amazing as well. 4 Stanley Cups and Olympic gold medal. So next week, $100 on the line. You can visit them at the corner of Albert and 13th, Pump Jacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Break time in the cage. We come back. We're going to talk to Arash Madani. We are streaming at sportscage.com and on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. Let's get going for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Arash Madani right there. Let's get into baseball right off the hop. Now, ton of baseball players who move the needle nationally anymore. Like, I know Ohtani, I know him, I know Aaron Judge, right. Vlad. Bryce Harper is a name. He's been around a while. I know that name. He's not too happy with the commissioner of Major League Baseball.
Well, he's not at all, and there's a deep kind of underbelly to all this. But yeah, Harper's as recognizable as they come. I mean, Barney, back when Sports Illustrated was relevant, Bryce Harper was on the cover of SI as a 15-year-old high schooler. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. He's been one of the faces of Major League Baseball. And Colson, why don't we run this tweet for those of you watching on the stream, and I'll run the audio or explain the audio of it. Essentially this. Yesterday, the commissioner of baseball had come into the Philadelphia Phillies locker room, and Bryce Harper got right in his face and told him to, quote, get the bleep out of our clubhouse, close quote, if he wanted to talk about a salary cap. Now imagine that. Imagine the scene that must have been in the Phillies locker room when the face of your franchise and one of the faces of the league gets right in the commissioner's face, Barney, and tells them to get the bleep out of here. Amazing.
Is there more to this? Is it salary cap? Why?
Yeah, so the underbelly of all this is that at the end of next season, baseball's collective bargaining agreement expires. The belief that many have is that a work stoppage is ahead, because baseball can't get out of its own way. Of course, they're going to have a work stoppage. And that the contentious issue here is going to be the owners are hell-bent on getting a salary cap. And that Manfred, the commissioner, is kind of going around to all these different teams and wanting to talk to the players. He's brought a couple of retired guys on board, including CC Sabathia, not to be part of the players' union, but be part of the league and go around and spread the gospel. So this is almost like the undercard to the main event. You know, it's Harper v. Manfred before it's PA and union versus league. And it's kind of setting up for what's going to be blah ahead.
So real chance, or what do you, if we were wagering on this, chances that we could see a work stoppage in baseball at the end of next season?
I just don't trust Major League Baseball and its owners. Because they have continued to show, Barney, they can't see the forest from the trees. Like, okay, and to me, this is case in point. 2020, COVID year, there was an opportunity for baseball to be the first league by about a month to get started before anybody else, before the bubble for hockey, before the NBA thing down in Florida. And they would have had a captive audience. Remember how, like, desperate for sports we were by the 4th of July?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And they would have had themselves for a month and nothing else, and they could have brought a lot of people back to the sport. And the owners were nickeling and diming over such minor things to get little wins over the players, and they missed a huge opportunity. So, yeah, I think there's a real chance. I think there's a real chance of a work stoppage coming up.
Let's go to the CFL. And I mentioned this yesterday. I said Arash has been saying that Chad Kelly isn't week to week. Like, this is going to be a long time, if not the full season. We're pushing into August here, and now the Argos have him on a 6-gamer.
Now he's on the 6-game injured list. And I think there's something fishy. There's something fishy that's been going on with the 6-game injured list this season, Barney.
A little bit.
Because only a week or two ago, Davis Alexander was put on there. Guys who should have been on the 6-game earlier weren't put on. I want to try and get to the bottom of that. But effectively what the Argos have now done is said Chad Kelly is out until at least the middle of September. Now, remember, that was a serious injury in November that required him needing surgery in Montreal. He couldn't fly, et cetera, et cetera. So apparently he's been on the practice field, and he hasn't been able to do much from a push-off standpoint, from a burst standpoint, really being able to scramble standpoint. None of that he's been able to do that. And you start to kind of think and wonder, okay, like what now? Mid-September, do you try and get him back into the mix? He can practice a week or two before. If the Argos are in the conversation, Toronto's not very good. Their team's not very good. Their roster isn't very good. But the East also, who knows what's going to happen with it? Montreal's quarterback is on the 6th game. Hamilton's rolling right now. So from the start of the season, I thought there was a real chance Chad could miss the whole year, and we'll see where that goes.
Ottawa, coming out of a bye week, we're going to see big changes. Something, heads are going to roll. We got that, and nothing. Bubkus.
Nothing. And I thought something was going to happen. Sometimes in these scenarios, you're 1-6, you're dreadful, you're not playing well at home, the attendance is down. Sometimes, Barney, you just have to make an optics move.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say have to. Not have to. Sometimes teams just make optics moves. Ottawa didn't. And I think part of it is, what do you do that's going to change things and make it better? Because if you can't fire the GM right now because the whole roster is in flux and who's going to take over. If you fire the offensive coordinator, honestly, who on the staff is going to call plays? If you fire the head coach, you're just with this idiotic staff cap, you're just going to be spreading responsibilities, and head coaching isn't the issue here. So I guess they'll just exhaust this as long as they're going to, and then maybe if they're mathematically eliminated, that's when changes come. Oh. But I get why there wasn't a move, because I don't think, quote unquote, one move was going to fix everything, or anything, rather.
It's safe to say that the Rider game in Montreal Saturday is the game of the week?
Game of the year.
I don't know.
Game of the year. Like, honestly. Your Alouettes,
Bethel Thompson's involved in the game of the year?
Hey, your Alouettes, they covered against the Stamps. They came through against the Stamps.
I took them on the money line, baby. I took them on the money line.
What would that have been? Plus 175, or was there a 2 involved in there?
I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
Because I took Hamilton money line in BC on Sunday night.
Very nice. Oh. Very nice.
But then I took the Riders to cover 8.
There you go. Look, that Hamilton BC game, wasn't that electric, by the way?
It's good football.
I mean, that was as good a CFL game as we've probably seen in 2 or 3 years, honestly. It had everything. It had the defensive play of the year, if not the decade. And I saw Mullender made a tweet, or put up a tweet about this, saying that's the best catch that he's ever seen. And he had a Ben Cahoon in there, and he had...
that he's witnessed live.
Ron Carter, I think, in 2017. He's had the 3 best catches he's seen in the CFL. And the point I was making about it, Barney, is that that tweet from Luke shows so much respect for S.J. Green, because S.J. Green just made one ridiculous grab after another over and over again in his career, and we just got so used to it. It was almost like it was part of the furniture that you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I guess that's not that impressive because we just keep seeing it all the time.
Colson and I talked about this in hour 1, and I feel like it was Calgary. Let's buy, where everyone's buying Calgary stock. Everyone's buying Calgary stock. Montreal goes in and beats them, and then it's like, Chikai. Okay, Saskatchewan again. And now it's Hamilton. And we're going into August here, and it's going to move again. And I don't know who's going to come out of the wood. Is it going to be someone's going to go on a run? I can't see it being BC. Who knows? I can't see it being Winnipeg, but who knows? And then Montreal, right? Toronto beats Winnipeg. I feel it's like
Barney,
the roller coaster ride.
Barney. I get it. When you're so close to it in the market, you look at the flaws that your team has and say, well, these are the reasons that I'm concerned. These are the reasons I'm worried. The best team in the league right now is Saskatchewan. In large part because they're the healthiest team at the most important position, and overall they're pretty healthy. I still think they should upgrade the running back position.
I agree.
And if somehow they could, from a non-playoff team, upgrade their offensive line with a move, do it. But a lot of people, especially living in Toronto, a lot of people are coming to me saying, okay, well, the Jays issue is this and this and this. I'm like, you realize that every other team has warts and every other team has issues, and no real other team in the big leagues is that good right now. I look around right now and I'm saying to myself, hey, the Riders can get better. They can improve over the next 5-6 weeks by upgrading their roster. But if there's a team that you don't want to play in November, nobody wants to come to Regina in those conditions and play. So I hear what you're saying. This can all shift. But the Riders are pretty good. Let's not lose sight of that.
Oh, I think hosting the West Final is so key on so many fronts, along with financially.
Oh, yeah.
It is, if they can get the West Final here. But the injuries, Arash, and I know we're not alone, and it's contact sport, and other teams are dealing with it. We are under the microscope here. But it's just the injuries at some point got to stop. Knock on wood with everything else right now. Speaking of the Blue Jays, at what point do they call a game because it feels like 48 at 2 p.m. in Baltimore?
I thought I saw 52 with the Humidex. So,
come on now.
So three hottest places in baseball: Atlanta, Baltimore, Kansas City. I remember we were in KC, and Cito Gaston and Pat Tabler were talking about when they played in KC in the old days of the AstroTurf. Which was basically concrete with a little layer of green carpet over it. It would get so hot, they had to keep moving in the outfield. Otherwise, their shoes would melt while they're standing in the outfield. And then they'd come into the dugout. And this is the old days, right? It's not like you have this great shoe technology or anything like that. There'd be buckets of ice water, and the boys would put their shoe, they put their feet into the buckets of ice water between innings. That's how it went. So I have been on some hot afternoons in Baltimore. I get it.
Okay. Let's wrap on this tennis thing that I saw. You had a 30-minute conversation with Andy Roddick yesterday.
Yeah. Really cool. Unfiltered. This guy has all the opinions. Mm-hmm. And here's what's interesting, Barney. I was asking him, I'm like, look, man, tennis hasn't been cool in a while. What does tennis need to do? And the more Roddick talked, I'm like, man, he's talking about the tennis world, like the CFL, about how do you get to young audiences? How do you get into their socials? How do you make it big part of their pop culture? How as a sport are you going to do that? You need the young players in the game, the superstars, to really kind of connect with fans. And now tennis has that with Alcaraz and Sinner, and on the women's side with Coco Gauff. I thought Roddick's point was really interesting. He said, kids these days are into players more than teams. They're into what's cool over watching full games. So how can you get bite-sized content into the hands, literally on the devices of young people, where they're going to connect with somebody who fits a pop culture? Somehow the CFL has to enter the pop culture vibe and dynamic, and we'll see how that can happen.
I've talked to people that know the children brain way better than us. It's exactly what they say, but they say good luck. And getting the kids to watch anything 3 hours, let alone a tennis match for 5 hours. Don't look any further than the Savannah Bananas.
Sure. But I'm telling you, if there's a way that just market that interception in BC to the gills and like find ways to get these people into the next time there's a big stadium, there's a big concert at the stadium, get some of the young rider players out there on stage with the performer, get them interacting with whomever. The Weeknd just played at the ballpark in Toronto. It's a shame that there couldn't be 3 Argos on stage there, up there with them. Think about the instant credibility that would provide, for instance.
Blue Rodeo's here tomorrow. Let's get Trevor Harris and AJ Ouellette up there for We Are Lost Together and watch the kids flock. You know what? There's so much talk around the CFL right now. Everybody's saying that's what the league needs. It's all this talk is going to bring. So let's just watch the data in 7 months if all this talk moves it. Data doesn't lie. Yeah. We'll check it out. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Let's catch up Thursday, and we'll go from there. I want to find some pictures of those burning shoes. That'd be cool to see.
I wonder who has some Kodak film left over from those days.
We got Willie Jefferson, the hit. Did you hear about anything on the fine to Willie Jefferson?
No. I didn't. Okay. I tried to ask around. I didn't get much. I was surprised it was a max fine, by the way, on the hit on Drew Brown. I thought it would be a suspension, but it wasn't.
All right, we'll catch up Thursday. Arash, see you later, bud.
See you, bud.
Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for Brian Gawley, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley. SportsCage will come back with a ticker, and we'll talk to Flowing Springs Golf Course. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Riders were back on the practice field today. A number of players not participating. One, of course, Sam Emelis, Coach Mace, on his injury.
There's a lot going on, so I'm just going to blanket it today with just injury reports coming out in a couple hours, fellas. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Riders, of course, in Montreal on Saturday. Former rider Jordan Herdman-Reed is signed with the Toronto Argonauts. Western Canadian Baseball League looks like about 7 suspensions handed out from the game between Swift Current and Saskatoon last week. Also, RCMP were called into that one. Tonight, Regina is at Moose Jaw. Weyburn's at Saskatoon. Medicine Hats and Swift Current. Major League Baseball, Blue Jays dropped the first of a doubleheader to Baltimore this afternoon. They're going to go at it again tonight. And the SportsCage poll, sportscage.com today. What is the biggest priority for the Toronto Blue Jays ahead of Thursday's trade deadline? You can have your say at sportscage.com. In hour 2, the sports ticker is for Extreme Hockey and Sport, where right now they have the price match guarantee. You prove a cheaper price in the city of Regina, they will beat it. Extreme Hockey and Sport, the local hockey store. All right, it's that time of the week where we go out and talk to Brian Raymond from Flowing Springs Golf Course, the most affordable round of golf you're going to find in Saskatchewan. Let's start there, Brian, and go through the specials for people.
All righty. First of all, Mondays and Wednesdays, ladies and seniors we're talking about over 60, are only $39, and that's the case all day. So you just have to make a booking and come out and play. $39. Every day after 3 o'clock, it's $38. Every day after 6 o'clock, it's $22. Doesn't matter whether it's a holiday or a weekend, those prices are in effect. The Monday, Wednesday specials are not on holidays. However, we do have a daily 9-hole green fee that you can have anytime you want, so there's no restrictions on that. It's only $46.75. We have a youth price, but the big deal is, of course, the twilight rates of $38, the early twilight, and $22 for the late twilight.
We had Greg from the Piffles podcast in yesterday co-hosting. He was just out at a tournament at Flowing Springs, said it was awesome, hosted, did a great job. People looking for a tournament maybe this fall for their group, family, whatever, you can hook them up.
Absolutely. We've already got a few booked already, a lot of corporate-type events and that sort of thing, and we're absolutely welcome to come out and book tournaments. We love to do that. And if you know what, if you haven't done it before, sometimes it's a little bit like herding cats. We can give you a hand. We've been through a lot of it, so we'll give you the advice you need to make it work.
Awesome stuff. What a night to go golf tonight or go to the driving range. How do they find you, Brian?
Give us a call at 306-543-5050, or you can book online at flowingspringsgolf.com, and you don't have to book for the driving range. Just come on out and see us.
All right, Brian. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
You betcha.
Wow. Yeah, what a night. Go swing the wrenches. What an inexpensive way to go for a walk as well. Or you can just go to the driving range, hit some eggs. It is the Sports Cage. We're going to start hour 3 with our friend Glen Suitor and a bear video. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on 620 CKRM. Third and final hour of the show on this Tuesday for our friends at Saskatchewan Lotteries. We're going to have Glen Suitor in moments. We're also going to hear from Mike Rose from the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. And then if you missed it in hour 1, we're going to play the Bob Wilkie interview talking about Sideways, a documentary on the 1986 Swift Current Broncos, team that was involved in the tragic bus accident outside of Swift Current. Documentary coming out, where the proceeds are going, and all that. We'll hear from Bob later in this hour. SaskTel picked the score. Colson hates when I do it on hour 3, but we're doing it. 936-6262. What is the score Saturday in Montreal? Riders Alouettes. Get a chance to win 2 tickets to the August 16th game. And then if you're closest to, you get a chance to win a $200 SaskTel gift card. It's all brought to you by SaskTel. So right now, 936-6262. And Colson's saying, while you're at it, if you want to do a pick the score and you want to go watch the Red Sox play baseball this year, they got 4 home games left in Regina starting tomorrow night. Pick the score or just say, I want to go watch baseball. You can do both as well. Colson's going to have contest overload for the next hour. Let's go talk to Glen.
Time now for press coverage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor on the Sports Cage. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090.
All right, sir. Glen, we're starting with this. So if you're not watching the stream at sportscage.com, might want to hustle. Go on sportscage.com. Go to the YouTube channel. Because we've been talking about it now for months. The bear that visits Glen Suitor's house. And he's got a video, and there he is on Glen's lawn doing his thing from his camera at his front door. I got to tell you, Glen, this is fantastic. This is fantastic video.
Barney, I did a little research on our friend Bear, okay? So I asked around the neighborhood because, as you know, this is not the first time. And by the way, yeah, he left his business right there.
He sure did.
And I didn't even miss a field goal. Anyway, I digress. But I found out that this bear's name is Bob. And Bob the bear has been in the area for, basically since they came out of hibernation. And he now has people going up and taking pictures with him. I would strongly suggest against that. But, I don't know how close these people are getting. So it's embarrassing me into walking out my front door and look at my grass. What a mess. I've got those little Schaefer beetles or whatever they are. But, this is exactly where, that's my front door right there. And that's exactly where he left his business right there. He's just getting in position if you're watching the stream right now. And from the camera above, Bob looks a little smaller than he really is. I mean, he's a hefty bear. And I guess we've just made him our pet in the neighborhood now. And I'll remind folks, like when I called the the game wardens or whatever they're called, and I called the people in charge of this stuff, and they said, "Where do you live?" And I said, I gave them my address, and I'm about a block away from sort of entering a mountain range of bike trails and camping. Like you could get lost in there and never be found. And when they found out my address, they said, well, you're living where the bear lives. So You have to expect that you're going to have company. So there's Bob. Bob is right up front.
Go, Colson. Go to the video one more time. Sorry. I think Glenn, he's bigger than what I thought.
Oh, okay.
No, he is. I'm being on.
Yeah.
And I could use the cheesy joke that the camera adds 10 pounds. Just look at us here on YouTube. But he's bigger. No, he is bigger than. Look. That's the picture when he walks by the vehicle, Colson. I get a sense of how big and he's meaty.
Yeah. No, that's a big bear. You put.
What if you walk out? You walk out to take the garbage. Your head's got to be on a swivel.
Well, I have to check the cameras now before we go out, and that includes at night and things like that. I sort of assuming that if I take my dog out the side gate, which is behind the bear in that shot, if I take him out there, he will smell the bear before and go nuts. So it'll give me a heads up that something's on the other side of that door. But yeah, he is. Bob's been around, and that was just a couple of days ago from those shots right there. But I was going to say, if you took two CFL footballs and kind of held them together, and then maybe a half of another one, that's the width of the top of his head.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Okay, you got to keep us updated on the bear now. Now he's part of the program. He's part of the program. Colson's going to make a graphic. Maybe we'll get T-shirts made someday. Bob the Bear. If you know, you know. Awesome stuff. Okay, we'll get to the Riders in a bit here.
Yeah.
I want to start with the interception that Robert Carter Jr. in BC, hard pressed to find a more impressive interception from my point of view.
Yeah, no, I can't remember one, honestly, and I can't remember one in either league, and I don't, I don't think we should make comparisons. I don't think it's necessary and all those things, but a different discussion. But I think this athleticism and his ability, first of all, to get as high as he did. I mean, Brendan O'Leary-Orange is a big receiver. I think he's 6'4". And that ball was dropping right in there. And he when he leaves his feet, I mean, you look from his feet to the turf, that is a vertical that's breaking records at the combine. I mean, he is up there. And then to stretch out, and I'm going to ask Robert next time I see him if he's right or left-handed, because he used his left hand.
Good point.
So if he is right-handed and did all that with his offhand, and then to be able to have the body control to not let it hit the ground and lose it at that point.
Can you go to that one, Colson, again, or is it just all in one loop? That angle of the pick. Look at how high he jumps. He's at the receiver. He's at the receiver's almost belt. How high he gets up here.
Yeah. And again, that's a 6'4" receiver, and those hip to feet for Brendan O'Leary-Orange. That's a long way. That's hitting your head on the basketball rim, basically, is what it would be.
Let's stay with that game in a bit, because we talked about him in hour one, and Kenny Lawler has done some pretty cool things this year in his own right, catching the ball. But it was interesting, and I'm watching the game Sunday, and you talk about how they're taking him away. They're double teaming him. They're playing a little high-low here. They're taking him away. Bo Levi Mitchell on point. He just went to everybody else in the yard then. Yeah.
And Keandre Smith was his favorite target. I think he had 14 catches. 14 catches because he was the underneath guy. He was the check down guy, the guy on the flat. And Coach Benavides, and he had given me a little bit of a heads up. Sometimes I get information that I can't use at all before games start because it's strategic. And he gave me a heads up that they had to do something with Lawler. Like their priority was going to be to not allow him an explosive play. And because they just felt like that team rallied around every one of his explosive plays. So that was their strategy. And you're right, Bo Levi Mitchell, the veteran, if you do it against a young guy at quarterback, he might get impatient, and that's when he forces it into the double team, or he forces it into that high umbrella-like coverage, and picks happen. And he didn't. Bo is a vet. Bo is on top of his game. He's a front runner for MOP, I think, with Trevor Harris. I think those two guys are 1 and 1A at this point of the season. And you know, when you play against a guy that's going to be able to be patient from start to finish, I mean, and consider this, in that final drive, they were in first and 15 twice. Yeah. They got 2 penalties on the final drive that put them in first and 15, and they executed to convert both of those to first downs to keep it alive and get down and score the winner. So great football game, outstanding catch. They
get to the goal line, right? And I think there was the penalty. Everybody probably a run coming up here.
Yeah.
And they leave, I forget the receivers wide open on the seam. And he just has his hands up, and Bo finds them. Mike Guido would have caught that. It was, I thought, I'm like, wow, they did not run. And that is why Bo Levi Mitchell, that's why they're on a 5-game heater, and he is seeing the field. He's playing probably the best ball, even to his own admission, maybe of his career.
Yeah, I agree. And he was quick to thank or to name Scott Milenovich as the big reason for it. I mean, Scott from in both leagues, again, you know, whether he was down in the NFL or up here, has been an outstanding, innovative offensive mind. And, you know, Bo, let's be honest, last year got a little stubborn because he had learned a different way and actually was benched. This veteran who's playing at the level he's playing right now was benched last year. Yeah. And isn't that a great message for young kids that, you know, you might be the man and things change a little bit, a coach changes and you have to learn a new system and it's not working out and you get benched because of it. Don't lose your mind. Stay focused, make the adjustments and get back in there, because Bo is a good example of what you can do.
It's Glen Suitor and press coverage for Bronco Plumbing and Heating. We're also playing SaskTel Pick the Score at 936-6262. Get those in right now. What do you think the score is? Riders and Alouettes coming up on Saturday. And then Kevin chimes in on the text line. No score, and he doesn't want to go see baseball. If you want to go see baseball, let us know too. Kevin just says new SportsCage mascot, Bob the Bear. So
yeah, I love it. I love it.
Kevin's onto something. Riders, Elks on Friday. You know, when you watch that one and how it went down, you know, from Cody to the Riders maybe again letting them back in the game, being outscored 14-0 in the fourth. How do you see that one, Glenn?
Yeah, it was interesting that the narrative right after the game was, and listen, I thought Cody played pretty well, but the narrative after the game was, you know, the Edmonton offensive line has been the problem. And I immediately thought, well, let's give credit to the Riders' front four on defense, first of all. They had a monster game. I think it might have been the best game of the year for Micah Johnson, and maybe the best over the last year and a half. And he was nicked up last year, so, you know, there was that. And for Shane Ray. And we're seeing right now on the feed that Shane Ray play. I thought it was maybe his best game. I mean, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Barney, that we were talking about this, and I mentioned that I with Shane Ray's resume, I think we should see more production, and now we are. It's coming now, and I thought he had maybe his best game. So let's give credit there first of all. Secondly, Trey Ford played with the same O-line, so Trey Ford never got sacked 8 times. So I don't, you know, it's funny how the narratives shift quickly depending on kind of who you'd like to see in certain positions and who you might not want to see at certain positions. Listen, I thought Cody played okay, but he got sacked 8 times. And Trey had the same offensive line for the last 4 or 5 weeks. and he never got sacked 8 times. So he brings a different element that maybe that team needed and maybe needs going forward. And I'm not cheering for Trey Ford. Well, that's not true. I do cheer for good people, and I cheer for Canadians to do well. That's for sure. But listen, I like Cody, and I think they can win with him. I don't think they're going to make a change. No, I think
that was my next question. Where do you think they go? So you just think they're going to stick with Cody for a bit here?
Well, I think at least one more game. And, and maybe they've had the conversation that we talked about last week, Barney, where the coach walks in and says, guys, we might need both of you, and we might need both of you in every game. I mean, I think back to the Burgess Austin years that I was part of and think that was a rotation almost. I mean, it wasn't a preset deal, but John Gregory would just look at see who had the hot hand and what kind of defense we were playing against. And if it was a different sort of more man-style defense, we saw Burgess. If it was more of a zone look and that kind of look on defense, we saw Kent most of the time. So, it can work.
Gregory making the call in that sweet, sweet sweater that he always wore. You see the Grey Cup videos. I love that thing. They need to bring that back. The one thing that I noticed in the game, and maybe it's just me going a little too deep on it. I want to get to Brett Lawther in a bit, but the punting game and how important field position and where to place punts. And I felt that if it's possible, Cody Grace, punter for the Edmonton Elks, who I've never said his name before and I probably never will again. I thought that guy kicked the snot out of the ball, put it exactly where it needed to be, or else his team would have been in a worse situation with Trevor Harris in that offense.
Yeah, you're right. And, the key part of that discussion and with punters is the directional kicking. It really is, especially with the returners that we have in the league. I mean, even with some of the top guys out due to injury, our returners can turn the field in a split second because it's so big and so tough to cover in all of those lanes. So, if you as a punter don't get the ball between the numbers and the sideline, then you are in trouble because your cover team has to cover the entire 65-yard wide field. And if you can get them into the corner, and they changed the rule now, so you have to get them in with better accuracy, because a couple of years ago, it didn't matter if it went out on the 30-yard line, if it went out of bounds there. Yeah, now it's a penalty. Yeah. So it's instant field position. So now you have to get it deep in there and then out of bounds or into that section. So, yeah, directional kicking, hugely important in our league because of the returners.
Unfortunately, it looks like we've got some injuries again, especially Samuel Emelis, receiver. It's going to be another next man up. We got Tommy Neal in the fold, right? Mims, local boy. Maybe he gets a little bit of a taste now. But the injury bug, call it what you want, as we go into August, it's something that every team is dealing with. It's just under the microscope here a bit in Riderville with now, another receiver down.
Yeah. I think there's sort of two aspects to the injury thing. One is the injuries that happen in game and that you have to manage as a coach with the game going on, because the rosters are restricted. In fact, when I had my commissioner meeting with Stuart Johnston, that was one thing I brought up. He was asking everyone. I don't know if you've met with him yet, Barney. I know you wanted to do that. So, and he will. I'm sure he will if you haven't already. But he asked me right out, what would you change immediately, or what would you add? And I said I would make the rosters bigger. I think we need to do it for two reasons. One, in-game injuries or nicks where a guy even loses 2 or 3 series before he can return. If we have deeper rosters and we have more prepared players ready to come in and take those spots, but also it would allow for independent cover teams, independent special teams. So basically you have your 12 on offense, your 12 on defense. Those guys don't play special teams because most of the defenders, linebackers, DBs are covering punts. A lot of them are on kick return. A lot of receivers are on kick return. When you're and you know, and we've talked about how important the special teams are. So when you are starting on offense, or let's put it on the defensive side. If you're a DB and you're covering a punt, you have 20 seconds after running 45 yards down the field in basically a barroom brawl with another player, trying to make a tackle on one of these returners. And then 20 seconds later, you have to start in the secondary on defense. You have to cover somebody immediately. So your recovery time, and as the game goes on, I don't know that there's a lot more injuries. There's probably data on this, but I don't know if there's a lot more injury on the teams. But if you could have independent special teams and more depth on the roster, I know it costs more money, but more depth on the roster, I think we would make the game a little safer and easier for coaches to manage those in-game injuries.
We're gonna tee up Riders and Montreal on Thursday, but I want to leave with Brett Lawther. Misses another one, goes 2 for 3. At what point do you think the Riders will explore again? Who, for starters, experience in the league? It's not as easy as just bringing in a kicker. Do you think we're getting close to somebody else coming in to maybe boot? Because Glenn, I said I like Brett as a guy and all that. I don't know where his mental space is, but if it was late October right now and we got a 42-yarder to bang through to advance or do whatever, I don't know how confident I am.
I hear you. And again, this is the part where I think coaches sometimes maybe overthink this. Really, I think it's really quite simple. You take your pajamas with the shoes attached and you cut the shoes off and you go out there and tell your kicker, we're bringing in another guy and it's going to be competition. And you have a chance now to fight off that competition and be great. And I watch Brett and I'm with you. I'm cheering for him to come back. He's a great human being. He's a good teammate. He's a great kicker. And he's going through something that is just, early on we could have said he was breaking in a new holder and all of those things. And that does matter. But at this point, if they haven't made a change, then that's not the issue. And so bring in competition. That will be your best chance to push Brett, put the pressure on him all week rather than just on game day. And then he'll either handle it or he won't. But if he doesn't, we're not even at Labor Day yet, and you have a chance to bring someone new in. If he does, which I expect he would and will, if that happens, then Brett is a stronger person on the other end of it and ready to compete when the game starts.
I'm hoping for that as well. All right, Thursday we'll regroup. We'll tee up the game in Montreal.
Look at that.
If you're watching the stream, Colson, I knew he was doing something quietly and quick over there. And
that's awesome. I love it. Bob the Bear. He's becoming famous.
SportsCage mascot. Thank you so much. All right, we'll talk to you Thursday, Glenn.
Okay, thanks, Barney.
That's it. Press coverage with Glen Suitor. For Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed, they'll treat you right. You can call them at 781-2090 and talk to the good folks at Bronco Plumbing and Heating. Bob the Bear. Just show the video one more time, Colson, of that bear in front of Glen Suitor that frequents Glen Suitor's house. See, this one, it's when he walks by the vehicle. He's big. Bob's big. Bob's meaty. He's been going through a lot of garbages in that area. He hasn't skipped a lot of meals. It's something in common. It's a Sports Cage. We are streaming at sportscage.com, and we are on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Number of riders not practicing today as they're back on the field. Sam Emelis, Lake Corte Moore, Aubrey Miller Jr., to name a few. They're in Montreal on Saturday. Coach Mace on being 6-1, and does the mentality, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, creep in?
No, you always try to fix. There's always things that are broken, man. So, you just look at ways to get better, no matter what the results. It keeps everybody focused on the process. So we enjoy that. I think the team thrives off that. there's they want to get rundown done the next morning. They want the answers and the corrections ASAP. So it's excellent. It's excellent.
Former rider Jordan Herdman-Reed has landed on his feet. He's in Toronto. Of course, he was one of the final cuts for the Riders this year. Western Canadian Baseball League. Red Sox and Moose Jaw tonight. Big one. They're back here tomorrow. Also tonight, Weyburn travels into Saskatoon and Swift Current hosting Medicine Hat. Major League Baseball. Jays lose 16-4 to Baltimore in Game 1 of the Double Dip. They're on the field right away here to play Game 2. And don't forget to vote at sportscage.com. Baseball fans, what is the biggest priority for the Blue Jays ahead of Thursday's trade deadline? You can vote at sportscage.com. Sports ticker at hour 3 for Steelcraft Doors Regina. Built in Western Canada for Western Canada. And they're now into their new 40,000 square foot location. If you need a garage door, Steelcraft Doors Regina has it. Tickets to give away. Regina Red Sox, they only got 4. Colson, 4. Regular season home games, and we have tickets. 936-6262. Hey, I want to go watch some baseball. Colson, heads up, like some of these people are doing. He's going to do the Wheel of Winning, and then we're playing SaskTel Pick the Score. Don't forget. SaskTel, gift card on the line if you're the closest to, but what we want to play for is the 2 tickets to the August 16th Rough Rider game. 936-6262. What do you think the score is this Saturday in Montreal between the Riders and Alouettes? So you got a couple ways to win. You can package them both together. You want to go watch some baseball tomorrow night? Looks like a beautiful night to head to Curry Field and watch the Regina Red Sox and Moose Jaw. They're jostling for 3 and 4 in the East Division. Speaking of hot, if you missed it earlier, the Toronto Blue Jays played a double dip in Baltimore. And Arash said he heard with the Humidex this afternoon it was 52 in Baltimore. I had at 2 o'clock 38 feels like 46. And they were trying to play baseball in that. So they go back at it tonight.
They're in the top of the 4th right now, actually.
And sweating.
Yeah. It 1-0 for the Blue Jays, top of the 4th.
Yeah, man. Ice packs, ice cold towels, change of uniform at some point. That's ridiculous. That so hot. In hour 1, we talked to Bob Wilkie, who was a member of the 1986 Swift Current Broncos in the tragic bus accident. There's a documentary that's come out, Sideways. Sidewaysdocumentary.ca, the website. We talked to Bob in hour 1. We're going to run that to end the show. Great interview. What he's doing for mental health, the DVD, the documentary. Colson, you said there's a Facebook page, and then proceeds of it going to help the scholarships for the 4 Broncos in different ways, how they give back to the community. It's just a mental health thing and how people were affected and how tough that was. So that interview is coming up again. Colson's going to run it. But we're going to continue with the Rider talk here as the Riders get set for Montreal. A guy who's been everything that we asked since he came in to Riderville this year. Our Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, catching up with Mike Rose.
Mike Rose, 6-1 through 7 games this season. Is this team where it needs to be at right now?
I mean, it's nice to have the wins, but we still got to finish. I think that's the one thing we need to do better, and I think that's what we're striving for.
You finished last week 8 quarterback sacks from the defensive line. Okay, the linebackers had a couple, but you have to give them their due. Tell me what went so well last week.
Man, them Deans, Micah, CJ, AJ, man, it's just rushing together, knowing the plan. That's it.
So when you have a game like that, sometimes if you look at basketball, right, a group of 5 function as one, and sometimes they just get hot and everything works properly. Is that what happened at the end of that game especially?
I think I just started getting hot. Some things they've been working on for a few weeks that I've been noticing been coming together. Like Shane's been working on some stuff, Scoot's been working on some stuff, and it just came together at the right time.
Tell me about the conversation, because the guys you just mentioned, there's a lot of experience within that group. How does the conversation go? Are you still learning from one another?
Oh, man, we're learning all the time because we all got so much different experience from so many different places. And, you know, the old man's still putting good tape out there. So it's just a lot of good experience being spread across each other.
I was trying to count, and I lost track during film. That's why I don't get paid the big bucks to do that. But you are amongst the team leaders in double teams. You're taking them on consistently all the time. What does that mean to you in the fact that teams have to throw two at you?
That means other people are eating, and you see the results. Like if you block me, I mean, that's one-on-ones for everybody else.
Now, you laughed when I said double teams. How come?
Oh, man, you know, I take it as a sign of respect.
Lots of respect there. So you go into Montreal, you have to respect your opponent. Tell me, how come it's so difficult to play there? You look through the span of time, and Western teams have had their hands full going to Montreal. How come?
I don't know, man. I think they're just a good football team. I don't know about the past. I think they're just a good, solid football team. A bunch of French people yelling at you, you know, that gets old, right? You know, you hear them air horns, and they got seagulls everywhere, you know. I think that's just what it is, man.
You get a bye week after this week. I don't imagine that impacts your mindset at all, but do you have to fight it off that, hey, I'm going to get a little bit of a breather after this?
Nah, man, you want to play ball because this is what happens. It's a vicious cycle. When you're playing, everybody's, oh, I can't wait till the bye week. And then you get to the bye week and like, damn, you're watching everybody play on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Damn, we could have been out there playing. So it's a vicious cycle. You know, you want to be out there playing, and then you want to take a break, you know, for your body. But at the end of the day, we all want to play.
Finally, then, what does this team need to do to continue on the defensive line and having the dominance that you did last week? What do you need to do to continue that effort in Montreal?
Whoop ass and impose will. That's just it.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
No, thank you.